Hey guys, welcome to the video overview of the Goal Zero Sherpa 100 AC. This is a fully loaded, truly portable 94.7 watt-hour battery bank with wireless charging, 8mm solar input, 2 USB-C ports, 2 USB-A ports, and AC charging. Before we get into the technical details of the features of this battery bank, let's take a quick look at the size and weight. This is all aluminum construction, 7.5 inches long, 5.68 inches wide, 1 inch thick, and only weighs 2 pounds. So this is a truly portable power pack. Really the smallest one I've seen that has the AC charging capabilities. So this is a pretty premium product. The metal exterior and all these features, you're just not going to find this in most battery packs. It's going to be great for traveling, backpacking or camping, or even an emergency backup system around your house. So like I said earlier, this is a 94.7 watt-hour battery, which is a very good sized battery. And that's kind of where the Sherpa 100 name comes from. And what's great about this battery size is it's TSA compliant. So if you're flying or something like that, you don't have to worry about bringing this battery pack on the plane. It will pass the TSA line. So that's a great feature there. On the top here, we have the QI charging pad, which can put out up to 5 watts of charging power. And one thing I really like about this charging pad is it's not very sensitive to what direction you put the phone on. You can either put it on like this, it starts charging right away. You can even do, kind of at an angle, and no problem, it's going to pick up and start charging your phone. I've even dropped the phone on sideways before and it seems to pick up just fine. Another thing I like about this battery bank is there's these 2 rubber strips on both the top and bottom of the battery bank. And what's great about this is when you set it down on like a dashboard or something like that, it's not going to move around. Or if you put your phone on like this, you got kind of some rubber grippies there to keep it from vibrating off if you're getting some text messages and stuff while you're working on something else. I like the design. It's a pretty nice ergonomic design that works for a lot of different situations. Moving to the business end of the Sherpa 100 AC, we have the 50 watt 8mm solar input. And this is great for if you have like one of those portable Nomad 20s or Nomad 28 panels, or even a Boulder 50. If you don't have a solar panel yet and you're interested in getting one, check out the link in the upper right hand corner of this video. I'll link to my head-to-head solar panel comparison video to help you kind of decide what's the best fit for your use case scenario. But back to the Sherpa here, we have 2 USB-C 60 watt bidirectional ports, which I really like. So that means you can charge this with a 60 watt input from like a laptop charger or something like that. If you have a MacBook Pro, that's 60 watt charger brick right there. And it can output 60 watts. So let's say you have a laptop like the Dell XPS, the MacBook Pro, something like that. This power bank, without having to turn the AC inverter on, can power your laptop directly with the USB-C port, which I think is a really awesome feature. Next, we have 2 USB-A ports, and these are the 2.4 amp versions. So that means it's putting out 12 watts of charging power. So that's gonna quick charge your tablets, your smartphones, anything like that. If you need to really juice up quick, these USB-A ports are going to be able to speed charge your phone, which is really awesome. And finally, the biggest selling feature, in my opinion, of this battery bank is this AC inverter. I haven't really found a quality battery bank of this size that has this capable AC inverter. So this is a 100 watt sustained output AC inverter, which is awesome. A lot of the smaller ones that you plug into like a 12 volt DC adapter or something like that aren't going to be able to continuously put out 100 watts. So this could actually run a small mini fridge or something like that. Your real limitation is going to be how much battery power do you have in the actual battery bank. Get 100 watts, you'll drain this in a little bit under an hour. But if you're a photographer or you're a drone enthusiast or something like that, where you have gear that can't be charged from the USB-C ports, having the AC port included is a great feature. Something to note with the AC port is if you're pushing it pretty hard, there is a fan on the back and it will turn on. So if you're pushing it pretty hard, just make sure you don't bump it up against the wall or something like that. Give it a little room to breathe. So for this form factor, this is a really capable battery bank. Let's talk a little bit about what comes with this battery bank when you open the box. First, you'll get your USB-A to USB-C cable. It's about 3 feet long or 1 meter. So that's kind of the primary charging device. Now, it does not come with a high wattage brick, so this is just intended to plug into a computer or a wall adapter such as this. In addition to that cable, you get 3 other shorter cables. 2 of them can be stored in the side of the battery bank, which is kind of nice. So I have my 2 favorites in the side of this battery bank. And then the third one's right here. So there's a USB-C to USB-C, great for charging laptops or using a laptop to charge this. We have your USB-A to Lightning connector, which is great for iPhones, iPads, stuff like that. And finally, we have USB-A to the micro USB cable, which is great for things like cameras, my wireless Bose headphones, and anything that hasn't been updated to the new USB-C standard. So that's everything that comes in the box. Let's talk a little bit about the recharging times of this battery bank and how many charges it can charge some of your common household devices. As I said earlier, you use the USB-C inputs to charge this battery bank. Using a standard wall adapter, it takes about 8 to 10 hours to charge up. So just plug it in and leave it overnight, and in the morning you'll be good to go. If you decide that you do need to charge this faster, you can use the 45 watt brick that Goal Zero sells, and with that it takes about 3 hours to charge this battery bank. And then if you have a 60 watt power source, such as something that you have for your laptop, you can charge this in 2.5 hours. With the solar input and the appropriate solar panels, you can charge this as fast as 3 hours. That being said, I think most people will probably be using the portable Nomad 20 or 28 solar panels from Goal Zero, which can charge this in about 6 to 8 hours. As far as its charging capabilities, what can 94.7 watts do for you? Well, according to Goal Zero's website, the cell phone says it can charge up to 7 full times, a standard size tablet up to 3 times, or your laptop up to 1.5 times. Of course, smaller devices like your Apple Watch or wireless headphones, you'll be able to charge many times. As far as real-world usage, I recently took this battery pack on a 4-day trip I had. I charged it up to 100% before leaving, and I was able to charge my phone 4 times, charged my Apple Watch 4 times. I recharged my noise-canceling headphones for the flight, and gave my tablet about 50% top off. When I got home, I had about 30% left in the battery still. So I think the capacity claims that Goal Zero is selling with the Sherpa are pretty accurate. Realistically, you don't drain the batteries on your devices 100% every time, so you're going to get more than enough charge cycles for, you know, a 4 or 5 day trip. So having something like this when you're traveling is great. You don't have to worry about your phone dying or something like that when you're trying to deal with the situation at hand. As far as turning the unit on and off and controlling some of the other functions, on the upper left-hand corner here, we have the power button, and then we have the selection button, which I'll show you how that works in a little bit. We have the display setting, which changes between the different display modes. And then the lower right-hand corner, that's how you turn on the wireless charging pad on the top of the brick. I went ahead and adjusted the lighting so you can see the screen a little bit better. The first available screen, or the default screen, shows the total watt input and output from the battery bank. I do like that it shows the exact percentage, as well as kind of a general icon, so at a glance you can quickly see roughly how full the battery is. So I went ahead and plugged in a solar source, and you can see on the display it is showing the number of watts coming in from the solar panel. The next display is pretty interesting. It shows how much power is coming in and going out from every individual port. Now it's kind of busy for a screen of this size, but it is nice to know how much power each device is drawing, especially if you have a vampire device and you're trying to figure out which one is slowly draining your battery when you're not attending to it. Now the next screen just shows you the total wattage that have gone into the battery pack and come out of the battery pack since you last reset it. This is great if you're going on a camping trip or something like that and you're trying to figure out kind of average daily usage. You can reset the battery pack at the beginning of the trip. Then after a couple days, you can figure out your average power consumption. The next screen gives you some detailed information on the 8mm port, specifically how many watts are coming in and then the volts that are coming in. So if you're having trouble charging this battery pack, you might use this screen to figure out if the solar panels are inputting a high enough voltage, maybe they're partly shaded or something like that. This is also useful if you're trying to angle your solar panels. You can see exactly the most optimal state to put them in. The next screen, this is the USB-C port 1, which is the one right next to the 8mm port. Now this is interesting because you can just press the check mark button and change between input only and output only. And this is actually really useful if you're trying to charge something like a laptop or something like that. The devices might get a little bit confused on if the battery pack's supposed to be charging the laptop or if the laptop's supposed to be charging the battery pack, since the USB-C protocol is a two-way protocol. So that's how you can lock it into a charging port or a power delivery port. I usually just leave it on auto because typically I'm just charging up the battery pack from a wall adapter. The next screen is just for the USB-C port 2. It's nice that you can control these individually. So maybe you'd leave one as the charging port all the time and the other you would leave as the power delivery port. The next screen just shows the status of the USB-A ports. You can't change anything here. It just tells you it's the USB-A port and the current voltage. The next screen shows the power load on the AC adapter and the voltage being delivered out of the AC adapter. So if your battery pack's really low, you might see the voltage dip a little bit on surge loads. So this is where you can diagnose that issue. Also, it's a good way to monitor the load on the battery pack to make sure you're not overloading the AC inverter. This is another screen where you can select the different option between having a standby or always on mode. I prefer leaving on standby, which means if I accidentally turn the AC inverter on, if there's no load applied within 5 minutes, it will automatically turn itself off, conserving power. If for some reason you have a low draw device or something that's periodically pulling power but not constantly on, you may want the always on function, and that's just changed by pressing the check mark. The next screen is just some general information about the battery, things like the total voltage and overall amp load on the entire system. So if you have stuff plugged in USB-C, the AC inverter, etc., you can see what the total load is on the battery pack, which is a handy feature. So as you can see, this little screen offers a ton of information, especially if you're trying to recharge the pack with solar while simultaneously trying to run things off multiple ports. So I've been sitting here and telling you about all the great things that this Goal Zero Sherpa can do. And I really do like this product. It feels like a premium product, and the ability to put out 100 watts and 60 watts out of the USB-C ports is a lot more power than most other power banks can deliver. So this is really a step up from most other power banks you can buy on the market today. That being said, there are a couple things that this battery pack does not have. The previous Sherpa series had a 12-volt output, which was great for some of your camping equipment, such as mini fridges, air pumps, and some medical devices. So something to be aware of, this particular model does not have the 12-volt output like the previous generations did. Also, this particular model has a max operating temperature of 104 degrees. Now that's actually pretty reasonable for most electronics. That being said, since this has a solar input, it's very likely you're going to leave this out in the sun connected to a solar panel. My recommendation is if you're on a campsite or something like this, put this under something like a picnic table or inside your tent with the solar panel outside to protect it from the sun and keep the heat down a little bit. Just like all electronic devices, you're not going to want to overheat this thing. All right, so that was the technical overview of the Goal Zero Sherpa, and what's kind of the use case or person I see this being a good fit for. And I really do think this is going to be a good fit for a lot of people. If you're someone who travels frequently, going through airports and stuff like this, the fact that this is TSA compliant and can power all your mobile devices for 4 or 5 days is awesome. It's great for camping with the solar input capability on the end here, and the ability to power some of your more common household items. It's great for camping and stuff like that, or even using as an emergency device around your house or condo. Then you have enough power to power your portable devices for 4 or 5 days, or if you have a family of 4 or 5 people, you can power everyone's stuff over the course of a day while it's being topped off by solar. So all in all, I really like this product. With the aluminum construction, wireless charging, and the high output power delivery options really make this a complete package. I hope you guys found this video overview helpful. If you did, hit that like button below. It helps the channel out a lot. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you're the first to be notified when I release new videos just like this one. Cheers!